yesterday. There's barely any. Now I'm buying more. I just dumped. Promise me, I just dumped a grand.
Mike, what do you have an early flight?
Yago, who was that? Yosef behind you?
Nobody behind me.
If it goes down,
Who's talking?
Yeah, I got 8 o'clock flight.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. So everything went up.
Suntag is talking behind me.
You're welcome. You're right, sir. All right, well, I'll talk.
Peace out.
Michael, Michael, why
Yeah.
don't you go to a Nate's minion?
What time is Nate's tomorrow?
No.
It's before that. I mean,
Oh, really?
Correct.
yeah.
You know, I'm not from these parts anymore. I don't know this is man. I mean,
Someone said he wasn't. I was shocked.
I offhand don't know.
Huh?
But you
I'm gonna check
probably
it
the
out.
Nate's
Thank you.
minion and the good.
I don't understand. Even doing something.
I'm gonna
just
check
asked
it
me
out.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, wait.
Why should he be? So,
There's no shit.
no.
There's
It's
a
like-
6 minute
Rush
has
on the back end.
Only a parent.
You'll have to
Or
get
a
up
brother?
earlier, but you won't be in such a rush on the back end.
What's that?
How this is only
I said you'll have to get up a little earlier, but you won't be
So
in
back-
such a rush on
Right.
the
He's
back
already
end.
more than
the
Right.
point. The concept is how
That's
to
what-
keep it out. What time we starting tomorrow? How many of the oil are making early Shabbos already, and how many are making late? Rabaran, you make early or late nowadays?
Late. You want to call it late regular Shabbos? Well,
Regular. Okay, you're right. Late. The regular, right? Not early.
Not late. You don't want to make late.
the same thing we did last week. It was good last week. 6:20, 6:30.
No, but the oil is starting to make early Shabbos.
Not before Shavuos.
Who asked you to preach?
Yeah, tell you, is that a statement?
Some
or
people
a
are
demand?
capable of counting Sphira even after they eat.
What?
I said some people are capable of staying up to count Sphira and then going to sleep.
It's just not halachically so okay. That's the only
so
thing.
you
Other than that,
stepped,
just
Jesse,
all
you
right.
stepped right into it, Jesse.
You know what? If I need to go to sleep early, Rabbi Shalom will be Michael.
Ramosha
Oh,
Daival Shalom always said at this time of the year, you have 3 mitzvahs. You have Sphira, you have Krishma, and you have benching. Was benching Rupsi Yaakov, right? Your father said,
I don't know.
depending when you finish that Suda.
Right. Oh, yeah. Right, that's true. You got a lot of, I guess if you make real early Shabbos and you start your meal before Shkia, then you're okay. Right? Got to make sure to do that. Okay, let's go. You ready to roll?
So we decide
Maybe if we
tomorrow or
start,
not
maybe
decide
we don't
tomorrow?
wait. Okay, so tomorrow again will be 6:30, I guess, right? Tomorrow 6:30.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we're okay.
Sounds good.
6:30. Okay, so where do we leave off? Oh, we went down to Amud Aleph already. Okay, so just the main thing that we have to remember from yesterday's daf was that we have a Machlokes Rabbi Yochanan, and it's either Rish Lakish or Rabbi Shua ben Levi, depending on which gears you're going with, as to how do we know that we separate the kohen. Rabbi Yochanan said we learned it from the Miluim, right? The original karbanos that were brought by the Mishkan, and there the Kohanim had to go away for a week. So we learn out from there to the Parah and to Parah Aduma and to Yom Kippur. And Rish Lakish or Rabbi Shua ben Levi learns it out from Har Sinai that Moshe Rabbeinu had to go into solitary for 6 days, and then we added on a 7th day. Right, and that's how we know. That's the Machlokes. Now we have 2 Braysos.
When Moshe came out, there's a 3-way Machlokes there. There were 2 Gersois and Rabbi Yochanan, whether it's 2 or 1, and then Rish Lakish ended up saying 6 days, not 7.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. But the main crux of it is whether we learn it out from the Miluim or from Har Sinai. This is going to be the longest Tanya Kavasei, I think, as far as I know in Shas. This Tanya Kavasei, which is usually like a 2-liner, like, oh, we found the price. So like if this Tanya Kavasei takes us more than half an Amud. Right? Okay, so Tanya Kavasei, it's around on Dalet Amud Aleph. It's about 7-8 lines down. Yeah, so Tani comes say the Rabbi Yochanan, Tani comes say the Rish Lakish. We have a brayso that proves Rabbi Yochanan that we learn it out from the Miluim. We have a brayso like Rish Lakish that we learn it out from Har Sinai. So Tani comes say the Rabbi Yochanan Bezois Yavei Aharon Ela Kodesh. With this, that's a title. With this, Aaron HaKohen will come into the Kodesh. B'masha Omer Be'inyan, right? And what it means Bezois is what's that? What it says in another Inyan. Ma'hi, what's the other Inyan? Be'inyan the Miluim, like the Inyan of the Miluim. I mean, the same way that Aaron HaKohen goes in on Yom Kippur into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So we learn it's this Bezois. It's similar to something else, which is from the Miluim. Uma Omer Be'inyan Miluim. And what does it say about Miluim? Aaron Peter Shiva Fishimish Yom Echad. Aaron separated himself for 7 days and he worked for 1 day, meaning the Miluim were all brought in 1 day. Moshe must have like called Shiva. And Moshe during those 7 days handed him over, told him over the halachas that he's supposed to do, the Kidei Lechanchei Ba'avodah, in order to teach him the Avodah. So it's very interesting, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, instead of giving the Avodah to Moshe Rabbeinu, no, Hashem gave it to Moshe to teach Aaron to how to do it. And also for future generations, Kohen Gadol Parah Shiva, the Kohen Gadol separates 7 days before Yom Kippur, and Yom Kippur lasts 1 day. And 2 Talmidei Chachamim of the Talmidim of Moshe, Lafuke Tzedukim, excluding Tzedukim, right? So Rashi says, what's this talking about? That the Tzedukim held. We're going to see this later on in the Masechta. Because what does the Kohen Gadol do? The way we say to do it is he takes the ashes inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim in one hand, and in the other hand, in the other shovel, he takes the Ketairis, and then he puts it on in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. The Tzdukim held that he should put the Ketairis onto the ashes outside the Kodesh HaKadoshim and carry the whole thing in. So the Talmidim of Moshe taught Aaron how to do it, to exclude the way that Tzdukim do it, right? And then Moshe like Kol Shiva, and they teach him all the halachas, all those 7 days, in order to teach him the avodah.
It's talking about Aaron.
Well, it starts with Aaron, but it means the Kohen Gadol. It means the Kohen Gadol.
Excuse me, the
original one was Aaron.
No, I understand, but the Talmidai of Moshe, that's talking about the time later on. That's just talking about the Perushim who kept the Torah Moshe, no?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean actual Moshe's. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you for. I should have pointed that out. Yes, thank you. Doesn't mean Moshe's Talmidim. It means people that were learned that are considered Moshe's Talmidim. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
How
did they already corrupt something that's brand new?
No, that's what it's saying. It's later on. It's calling it Talmidim of Moshe, but the Tzdukim was much later on. They just called Talmidim of Moshe because they're Talmidei Chachamim. That's what it means. It's interesting. Again, also, there's a couple of cases. First of all, why do you need 2 Talmidei Chachamim? That's one. 2 is why can't Aaron? The Kohen Gadol must have been a pretty learned fellow, at least until Bayis Sheni when they started scamming the Kohen Gadolship, right? But before then, they must have been pretty learned fellows. What do they need two other people to teach them what to do, right? It's almost like protocol. This is the protocol, the way it was from the Miluim that Moshe taught Aaron, and then Memela we have Talmidei Chachamim teaching the Kohen Gadol how to do his job. I mean, you're teaching a Kohen Gadol who probably grew up in the Beis HaMikdash and got a lot more experience of hands-on than the Talmidei Chachamim, and the Talmidei Chachamim are teaching him how to do it.
It seems like this is only true. It seems like this is true when the Tzdukim started to proliferate. So they probably need 2 Talmidei Chachamim in order so that each one doesn't is a check on the other one to make sure they're not Tzdukim themselves. And it wasn't just a way for them to weed out whether somebody was a secret Tzduki or not.
Yeah, that's going to come later on. I'm
saying so. Maybe the Talmidei Chachamim are a check on each other, and they're also a check on the Kohen to make sure he might not be a secret Tzduki.
I hear. Maybe. I hear that. Okay. So Mikan Amru, Shivas Yamim, Kodim Yom Kippurim, Rafrishan Kohen Gadol, Braysos luchos Parah. So from here we know that they separate the Kohen Gadol from the from his house to the Lishkas Parhedron. And the same way they do it for the Kohen Gadol for Yom Kippur, they do it also for the one that's burning the Parah. Lishka Shalka Al Pnei Habira, to the Lishka that's on the top of the Bira, like we had in the first Mishnah. Right? So find a Mizracha in the northeast of the Beis HaMikdash. And both of them, meaning the Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol for Yom Kippur, and the Kohen for the Parah Aduma, Mazan Alav Kol Shiva. We like we said yesterday, we sprinkle on them the Efer Chatos all 7 days. Mikol Chatay Shayusham, from all the different Efer Parahs that they had put away. Vim Taimar B'Miluim Dam Hachamayim, like we asked yesterday, that if you're going to say, well, B'Miluim it was blood, and here it's water. Amrit, so we say Nichnusu Mayim Tachas Dam. No, we replaced the mayim with we replaced the dam with water. For Aimer, and it says in the pasuk Kasher Asa B'Yom Hazeh Tzivu Hashem Lasis L'Chaber Aleichem. Right? It says the way they did it in Yom Hazeh, Hashem commanded to do to L'Chaber Aleichem. Lasa is Elu Ma'aseh Parah, L'Chaber Elu Ma'aseh Yom Kippurim. And so Lasa is the Ma'aseh Parah, and L'Chaber tells you Yom Kippur. So you see clearly this Braysos holds that we learn it out from the Miluim. Right? We're still not finished with the Braysos, but then the Gemara Stam is V'hai B'Zois Mibayle L'Gufei. Right? We said this whole thing is based on the Zois with this, but maybe the Zois we need for the pasuk itself, the Par Ben Bakar L'Chatos V'Ayel Lo'ila, that to tell you that we need a Par Ben Bakar for the Chatos and a Ayel Lo'ila, right? Meaning that's the type of carbon that you need. Who says that the Zois is saying that it's coming to tell you that the Kohen Gadol has to separate for a week? Maybe it's just coming to tell you that similar karbonos. So I'm reading one answer says Ila carbon luchudei. If it was just coming to teach us carbon, leimakra bezeh. Why does it just say this? Oy be'ela, or with these. My bezois. Why does it say bezois? Shamas mina tarti. So therefore it tells us two things. That he has to bring the par ben bakar on the aisle, and also that he has to stay away for a week. My va'omer, what's va'omer, right? Meaning, why do you need another pshat, right? Because there were two pshatim, right? The first pshat that we said bezois, and then also the pshat, like we said already on Beis Amud Aleph, from the pasuk of lasois and lechaper. So why do you need two? My va'omer, v'chitei miyom kippurim kamahu debai prisha. Maybe only the first Yom Kippur in history. That's when the Kohen Gadol had to go away for a week. Same thing by Miluim, right? Meaning Miluim was a one-time thing, and they needed to put the Kohen Gadol away for a week, right? Aval Yom Kippur da Alma, but all the other Yom Kippurs after the initial Yom Kippur light, the Kohen Gadol would not have to go away. Inami Kohen Gadol kamahu debai prisha. Maybe the first Kohen Gadol, who was Aaron, needed to be separated. A Kohen Gadol ba'alma loy. But a regular Kohen Gadol doesn't need that. So therefore we said another limud from Miluim to tell you that we have two different psukim, and it's very clear that they both have to, you have to separate the Kohen and every year from Yom Kippur, and not just Aaron a Kohen, and it has to be exactly like it was with the Miluim. That's the first Tanya Kava says. So clearly this Braysos is going like Rabbi Yochanan, that it's Miluim, right? Fine. What are you saying?
Is there a difference between those two pshatim other than the 38 years? Whether it was the first Yom Kippur or the first Kohen Gadol?
What else should it be?
I don't know. I mean, what's the big deal? What's wrong with just saying the first Kohen Gadol? I mean, what's the first one? The first Yom Kippur.
No, it wants to know if you do it forever, every Yom Kippur. It's a very big difference.
No, but that's why we need the second pasuk to tell you every Yom Kippur or every other Kohen Gadol. But the first pasuk of Bezois either tells me the first Kohen Gadol or the first Yom Kippur. Well, L'maynaf Gemina.
I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying.
We just had two pshatim in the Gemara. Why we need a va'omer? Why we need lasis lechaper? So I would have said, I would have thought from Bezois either the first Kohen Gadol Kamash Malan, Lases Lachaper, the rest of the kind of Gedolim. Or the second shot was the Yom Kippur, the first Yom Kippur, or the rest of Yom Kippur. That's why you need a second pasuk. What?
Right.
Why? What's the? Usually, when the Gemara does this, there's an afkamina. There's no real difference here.
What? No, it's you would have learned out a different limud. That's all.
It's the same limud.
The nafkamina would be if it would have been the rest of the years in the Yom Kippur.
Right.
That Aaron was around. That would be the nafkamina between the two.
That's what I'm saying. 38 years. 38
Yeah,
years.
those 30 years.
That's
Yeah.
Okay.
Reb Tzviakov, the
Yes.
Braysos seems to be a steer to Reb Yochanan. Reb Yochanan was the one who said that it's a Maila Ba'alma when it comes to the Parah Aduma. But the Braysos Va'omer, that was the pasuk we darshaned against Reb Yochanan.
You're saying it's to hear its mamish sounds
It's a
like
steer,
it has to
yeah.
be-
And it's funny because Rashi himself points out that it's in this Brayso he says, "Oh, it's a Maila Ba'alma when it speaks about the Parah Aduma." The Maila Ba'alma Parah Aduma, right? So. What does that mean? The Brayso right afterwards goes on and is Saiser of Yochanan.
Right, I hear. I thought somebody had asked that kasha before. Tosis didn't ask that before. I thought somebody asked that before. Not sure.
Well, it could go either way. It could be a right. There's two Reb Yochanans essentially, like we said last night.
I understand.
Right.
According to the Reb Yochanan, I understand that. According to the Reb Yochanan, that only says it's a mile of Alma. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
This Brayso Mamish
I
is
hear.
Saiser.
Right.
The
I don't
Gemara
know.
is bringing
I was
us
gonna
close
ask-
to Reb Yochanan.
I was going to
Right.
ask the other way
Yeah.
around from the beginning of the Brayso. The beginning of the Brayso is Bezois, is all about Yom Kippur. There's nothing to do with the what's it called? It both says, and also
Yeah, but then
the-
eventually, yeah, I hear. Okay, let's see weiter.
but also
That's
the
first
Chatos.
price.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's see weiter. That's the Brayso like Rabbi Yochanan. Here's the Brayso like Rabbi Rish Lakish. Tanya Kavasei the Rish Lakish. Moshe Ola Ba'anan. Moshe went up in a cloud. Right. V'nischasa Ba'anan, and he was hidden by it. Right. V'niskadish. Right. And it became Kaddish in the cloud, meaning Moshe became Kaddish in the cloud. Kedei l'kabel Torah yisroel b'kedusha, in order to be makabel the Torah b'kedusha. Shenemar v'yishkin kvei Hashem al Har Sinai. Right, the Hashem lived, or not lived, but it dwelled the cover of Hashem on Har Sinai. Zeha yemaisa achar aseres adibros. This happened after the aseres adibros. That's the beginning of the 40 days. Dibur Rabbi Yosef Glili. That's Rabbi Yosef Glili's shot. So 1 second. But Rabbi Yosef Glili said that the first way came Shavuos, then Moshe was hidden out for 6 days. Right? Which we're going to ask on Amud base. How does that whole work out with the whole Cheshbon, Shiva, Tammuz, and the Broch and luchos? That we'll get to. But what he again, Rabbi Yosef Glili's holding that first was the Seres HaDibros, then Moshe was separated for 6 days. And it dwelled on there from Rosh Chodesh to cover Hashem. So that means, and then there's 6 days from Rosh Chodesh to Shavuos, and then there's the 40 days, right? So obviously, so what do you see from this Brayso? Right? Is that you see that it has to do with well, at least you see the 6 days is the separation is by Har Sinai, right? We'll see that weiter. What do you want to say, Gershon, quickly? You want to say something?
Just in the dikduk, how are you makabel Torah to someone? What is makabel
I know,
Torah le Yisroel?
Yes, I don't know what that lashon is. If I have any confidence in dikduk that I even understood dikduk, maybe I would ask the question. But I have so no confidence.
Can't hear you. Something happened.
Now, now
Hello?
it's better, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now we
okay.
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, whatever it is. Yes, that's a kasha with the dikduk there. I'm not sure. Anyway, so it's a machlokes.
He was
What are you saying?
Moshe was makabel for klal Yisroel. He was the shliach. He was the makabel for klal Yisroel.
It doesn't say for klal yisroel. It says to klal yisroel.
So he was makabel, he gave it to Klal Yisrael, no?
That's
What's
nasan Torah Yisrael, not mekabel Torah Yisrael.
Okay, fine, whatever you
Yeah.
say, Gershon.
It's just
What do you
touch.
say-
I'm
what do you
sorry,
say
it
in
doesn't
Abbas?
agree with you. But
What do we say in Abbas? We say Moshe Kibbutz Torah.
No,
Sinai.
Sinai.
Umasara li-
Right.
Umasara.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a
That
good.
But here
doesn't
it's-
say here.
Yeah. Yeah, no chanami. Yes, yeah. Anyways, okay, so let's see weiter on Talmud base. Vayichaseu ha'onan lahar, right? And the cloud covered the mountain. Vayikra el Moshe, and he called Moshe, right? V'chol Yisrael Amdin, and the Klal Yisrael was standing there. V'loiba akasav el l'chalek covered the Moshe. Meaning, why did I have to say that he said to Moshe and to Klal Yisrael? Right? It's why can he just say? I mean, just it was said over to Klal Yisrael. So it's to give him covered to Moshe that he was singled out. Right? From Nasanaimer, loiba akasav el l'marak achila shesiyah shebemeyav. The reason why he needed to go there for 6 days was so that he should have no food in him for 6 days, so that he should be like a malach.
What about
Right.
it was mon they had? They didn't have
That's
hello. They had mon.
Oh, how are you? Yeah.
They had mon.
What are you saying?
They were eating mon. They had no. Didn't have any psilus in it. It was absorbed.
Right.
So what
I
did he
hear,
say
but
to
I don't know.
clean
He
them
says,
out?
I don't know. I mean, mon is still food, no?
No, they said they
No.
lechel maklokel.
What
I
about
know, but it's
No, but it's
what about
the
Shtia?
lechem maklokel that they didn't have to go. That was the complaint.
I hear.
They still
Right.
had to eat. Malachim don't eat.
No, but he's saying that he needed the 6 days to clear out his system. Clear out system from
Yeah,
what?
so that all the nutrients from the mun would be used up in a system.
No,
Now he doesn't need
it all was absorbed. Nothing to
That's
clear
called
out.
nutrients. That's what nutrients are. The psilus is not. That's what comes out.
Yes,
Nutrients are
now we're
absorbed.
learning science. Das weiß ich nicht.
That's the Gemara. Sorry.
Yeah, it's that. It was
And I
absorbed
think, I
in
don't
the
know,
body.
Zev
That's
was-
it.
Zev
There
was
was no
saying- Zev was
psilus
saying the
that they
drink.
said. That was the
What about the
complaint that they
drink?
had.
It's a Ramban
What?
that says that. The Ramban
What?
says that. When it comes to the mun, there was no psilus.
What about the drink?
What about it?
What's the taina lechem akloikel? As they said, is it possible for someone to take something in and not to excrete?
Correct.
That was their taina.
Right. I hear. But what about drink? What about drink? They drank, no? That's what Zev is saying.
Bear Miriam, whatever
Right.
they drank. Maybe that also got absorbed. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, whatever it is. But that's what they're saying. That's why he took him there. Not for any sort of kedusha or for anything like that. Ramasya ben Charash says, to scare Moshe. That the Torah should be given with fear and shaking and trembling, whatever they call it. You should serve Hashem with fear and be happy with bira'ada. Be happy, but not so, I guess, cautiously happy or something like that. Right? My vigilu bira'ada, what does that mean? To be happy, but scared happy. Where you have happiness, there should also be nervousness. I don't know if nervousness is the right way to touch it, but fear, right? But whatever it is, you see that according to Rabbi Yosef, what's the raya from this whole thing? That we have a bunch of shitas here of exactly why the clouds went onto Har Sinai or to Moshe Rabbeinu. But the bottom line is, Rabbi Yosef HaGalili held that the reason why Moshe was separated was for kedusha, right? For a week before. So therefore, we're learning it out. So that's where the kohen gadol gets it from too. Fine. So, but my komiflagi, Rabbi Yosef HaGalili, Rabbi Kiva. What's Rabbi Yosef HaGalili and Rabbi Kiva are arguing about. So Rashi says, it's not irregular. What are they arguing? We know what they're arguing about. They're arguing about what was the deal with the cloud on the Har Sinai. So Rashi says, no, what's the raya to their opinions? So a plug the Tani Tanoi, it's going with the Machlokes of these Tanoim. The Tanya, Beshisha B'chaydesh Nitna Torah, the yisroel, Rabbi Yosef B'Shiva, right? Famous Machlokes, whether the Torah was given on the 6th day of Sivan or the 7th day of Sivan, right? Mando, right? And we pretty much paskin that it was the 7th day, but we keep Shuas on the 6th day, right? It's a ganze shir into itself. But right, let me say how could that be? But shine, right? So anyway, it's a machlokes tanaim whether it's on the 6th day of Sivan or the 7th day. Mando b'shisha nitno b'shiva Allah. The one that says shisha, so the Torah was given on the 6th day, and on the 7th day Moshe went up to learn the Torah. Mandamar, we'll skip the parentheses. Mandamar b'shiva, the mandamar that says shiva b'shiva nitno b'shiva Allah. It was given on the 7th day, and Moshe went up on the 7th day. Rabbi Yossi Aglili holds like the Tanakama. Domer b'shisha b'chaydish nitna Torah. He holds like the Tanakama that the Torah was given on the 6th day. Hilka zeho yemaisa achar aseres hadibros. And the maisa of him going up, of the separation, came after the aseres hadibros, because it was on the 6th day, and he went up on the 7th day. But Yishkan kvod Hashem al Har Sinai, and Hashem rested his covenant on Har Sinai. And the cloud covered over Moshe for 6 days. And then he called Moshe on the 7th day, which was really Yud Gimel Sivan. Right? Again, he holds the Torah was given on the 6th. Moshe was put into solitary on the 7th for 6 days. That takes us till Yud Gimel. The Kavul Shara Torah to be Makabal the rest of the Torah. As if you're going to think that Moshe was put into solitary from Rosh Chodesh Sivan. It says, and the cloud covered the mountain. And he called Moshe on the 7th day to be Makabal Sevadidus. Hakabilu Mishisha. He was Makabal on the 6th day. Right? V'hastalaka on Mishisha. And the cloud went away on the 6th day of Sivan. Right? Meaning, how can you say that Hashem was giving it on the 7th? It was already given on the 6th. Yeah? But if that's Rabbi Yossi Aglila, so he holds like the one that holds that Shavuos is on the 6th. Rabbi Kiva Savalak Rabbi Yossi, and Rabbi Kiva holds like Rabbi Yossi, Damar B'Shiva B'Chaydesh Nitna Torah Yisroel, that it was given on the 7th. Okay, so now the Gemara asks the kasha that should be bothering everybody. So Bishul Rabbi Kiva. So according to Rabbi Kiva, that says the Torah was given on the 7th, and Moshe was in solitary from Rosh Chodesh. Hanan the Mishkachas La B'Shiva Asa B'Tammuz Nishtar Luchos. So that's how you come out that on Shiva Asa B'Tammuz Luchos were broken, right? Because Esrim V'Arba the Sivan, you have 24 more days of Sivan, right? V'Shisar the Tammuz and 16 days of Tammuz. So that comes out that 40 days Moshe was on the mountain. He came down on the 17th of Tammuz, and he came and he broke the luchos. But according to Rabbi Yossi Glili, that says that there was 6 days where Moshe separated before he went up to Shemayim to get the Torah, then 40 days. Then according to that, the luchos weren't broken until the 23rd of Tammuz, meaning you have to push everything off by 6 days, according to Rabbi Yossi Aglili. And we know that we keep Shivasa b'Tammuz because that's when the luchos were broken. Right? Again, according to the shita that says that the Torah was given on the 6th day, and then Moshe was hidden for 6 days, and then they went up to the mountain for 40 days, then the luchos were not broken on Shivasa b'Tammuz. The luchos were broken on the 23rd. You have to push everything up by 6 days. And we know that that's not the case. So the more answers on Malach Rabbi Yossi Glili are Baran Dahar Bahadi Shisha the Prisha. No, the 6 days that he was on the mountain, that the mountain covered with the clouds, with the mountain, was included in the 40. So it wasn't, the 6 days were part of the 40. Right? Yeah, so that's meaning he was on the, I guess he was on the mountain, but the first 6 days were his Tahara days to make him tar before he went up to the mountain. Okay, fine. So now the Gemara gets a little bit of a gadata of what was going on by the Har Sinai. Amar Marva Yikra Moshe, and he called Moshe v'chol yisroel Imdin, and then Moshe and everybody was standing. Messiah the Rebbe Lazar, Damar Rebbe Lazar v'Yikra Moshe, and he called Moshe, and Moshe v'chol yisroel Imdin, and Moshe and Chol Yisrael was standing there. Right? The loiba akasav el lechalik like cover the Moshe, and the Torah was only coming to cover the Moshe, meaning that the Seres HaDibros was given to Gans Klal Yisrael, not just Moshe, and then he gave it over. It's to everybody. Just the Torah wanted to specify Moshe to give cover, to give the proper cover to Moshe. So Meisvei, so they asked the Kasha, Kol Loi. It could have said Kol Loi, Kol Elov. It says, but the call went to him. Rabbi Yishma is a call medaber a love. Moshe shama b'chol Yisrael lo shamu. Right? It says that what is a pshat? Call loy is to him instead of a love. I'm sorry, it said a love instead of loy. Right? So it's to him dafka. It went to Moshe first, and then the whole Klal Yisrael did not hear it. So it's a stira. So did Klal Yisrael hear Seres HaDibros or not? Again, the first pshat says that they did. The second says they didn't. So the Gemara answers like Kasha, Haba Sinai, Haba Oyel Mayid. One is talking about by Sinai, and one is talking about by Oyel Mayid. Right? By Har Sinai, Rashi says everybody heard it. By the Oyel Mayid, when Hashem talked to Moshe Rabbeinu, that was only private between him and Moshe. Right?
In Vayikra, the first pasuk in Vayikra, you have that.
When was
By
that?
Vayikra, you have they spoke to Moshe, Ba'al Moed. No one else heard.
Yeah, so was it he gave
Right,
him the
that's what it's saying.
thing. So
Yeah,
what's
that's
it to
so.
So what's that have to do with Kabbalah Torah?
No, so we're saying by Kabbalah Torah, everybody in Klal Yisrael
Everybody
heard,
yeah.
with Moshe.
Yeah, so
Moshe,
this is separate. So like, okay, so good. What's have to do with anything?
no, because we have a stira in Psukim. Did it go to Moshe first and then to Klal Yisrael, or did it everybody in Klal Yisrael hear it? Right. So we're trying to be miyash of the stira. So the first teretz is saying by Har Sinai, everybody heard it. By in Oyel Mayid, only Moshe heard it.
Only Moshe.
Yeah, we know that. We know that he spoke to Moshe in the Oyel Mayid. What does that have to do? I'm not privy to Moshe's private conversations.
So the Gemara, the Gemara thinks that Taka there were no private conversations between Moshe and Hashem. And that's what they think. No.
He lived by Kedushin and Tyra, so he could be ready to speak to Hashem any minute, right?
Right, and he's saying the rest of the class who got to listen in.
No, I don't think so. It was still watching the Met game. You know what I mean?
The original social media. It's original social media, no privacy. Yeah.
I mean, it obviously is a chiddush that from the fact that the Gemara asks this here, it's a chiddush that once Hashem starts to speak Torah, that it was only to Moshe at a certain point. You know,
it was a higher frequency. It was a higher frequency.
But the Gemara darshan the pasuk before that it said Klal Yisrael was talking zeicha to that.
Yeah, that's they heard it by Har Sinai. Everyone heard it.
Right, but until the next pasuk came along and said no. But I'm just saying until the next pasuk came along and said Kol love, you would have thought that Hashem continued to speak Torah to everyone and not just to Moshe.
I don't know when Hashem spoke to Moshe about it, because they had private conversations.
But Hashem was giving over the Torah.
No, you're right.
Hashem was giving over the
Torah.
The
Gemara's Havamina. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. The Gemara's Havamina. It seems like everybody got to hear Hashem talking to Moshe. That's what it seems.
No, everyone got to hear Hashem saying over the Torah. Moshe was one of the people that heard the Torah. So Klal Yisrael was like to hear the Torah the same way Moshe was.
No,
until
but
the pasuk came along and said, until the pasuk later came along and said Kol love, you would have thought that Hashem continued to teach Torah to everyone, not just to Moshe.
I don't know.
When the Mishkan was built after Har Sinai, so the pasuk saying after the Mishkan was built, the Torah was only disseminated to Moshe, and then Moshe gave it over to the rest of klal Yisrael. Without that pasuk, we would have thought that the Torah continued to be given over to everyone.
No, I personally wouldn't have thought that. I'm sorry.
Right. So that's why you got to go with the Gemara first, and not you.
I'm saying, but it's okay, but it sounds like from the Gemara's Having, even in the Oil Maya, they would have thought that klal Yisrael was listening in. No?
And that's the chiddush of the pasuk. That klal Yisrael can hear from the Oil Maya.
Yeah, it's an interesting Havamina. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, bye. To be by the same, but like kasha haba kriya haba dibur. One is with kriya, and one is with dibur. Right. So kriya, I don't know. Kriya is stronger than dibur. So one they did hear, one they were not able to hear, like a higher frequency, like you said, Reb Doib. Fine. Then right to what else? Reb Zrika Rami Kroi Kamei de Reb Elazar. Reb Zrika asked the Stiram Psukim in front of Reb Elazar. Amila Amar Reb Zrika Reb Elazar Rami. Or some say that Reb Zrika said over that Reb Elazar asked the Stiram. Ksiv v'lo yachol Moshe lavei al Ayel Mayed kishachin lava anan. Moshe wasn't able to come into the Ayel Mayed because of the anan. The anan was blocking him. Ksiv v'yavei Moshe b'seicha anan. And it says Moshe came into the anan. So was the cloud blocking Moshe? Was it not blocking him? Teaches us that Hashem grabbed onto Moshe and schlepped him through. He dragged him through the anan. Fine. Another pshat. Very yisroel tana. Nemar kan b'soich. Says here inside. V'nemar lahalon b'soich. Right, but it says by not Har Sinai, by Kriyas Yamsuf b'soich. They came inside the Yam. Malal and Shvil, just like there was a path, a road in the Yamsuf to Sivan Maim Lem Chayma, and the water was made a wall, so they were able to cross right through it. Afkan Shvil. So to here there was a path inside the Anon. Really, the Anon you couldn't walk through, but there was a path made from Moshe. Fine. Okay, bye. And they called to Moshe and he spoke. Why does it say the word kriya before dibur, like the Gemara was referring to before? Lim the Torah derech eretz. The Torah is teaching you derech eretz. I happen to I don't want to say I don't agree with this derech eretz. I hate that type of derech eretz personally. Okay, that's my hakadama, right? Somebody shouldn't just walk over to a friend. You first call him and say, and then say you want to talk to him, and then you tell him. You don't just walk over and start blabbering your mouth, right?
Reb Yaakov, you just want to hear the shilas. You don't want to say the hello.
That's exactly. I don't like hello. Can I talk to you? Just talk. Yeah. Just talk. All right. People say I need to talk to you. Can I tell me what you need? But leave me a voice message that you have a question. Tell me the question. Like. Why do I have to hear a voice message that you have a question?
It's not as if you got to text him, can I call you? Like, just call somebody.
No, right. No, but it's said, but from here it's mashma that the mention. Yes.
But you would
yes.
It's a shiloh. Here it's deeper, it's speaking. When you're speaking to somebody, you have to call him by his name.
No, I don't call by name, but I'm saying it's even with speaking.
It's not their cheretz if you're not giving him the proper covenant when you're speaking to somebody.
What, to just walk over to a guy and say, yeah. I'm saying when you go over to a friend after davening, not in the middle of davening, we're not always talking middle of that. After davening, you walk over to a guy, you say, hey, how's the weather? Can you say, can I ask you a question? Can I speak to you? How's the weather? Right?
Yeah, you ask him. When I come over,
you ask him.
Rabbi Tzvi Yaakov, can I ask you a question?
Right.
Can I talk to him? Tzvi Yaakov, can I talk to him?
Right. So that's the Machlokes thing.
Yeah, and Shuldik, these the Kiddush.
Right. Yeah.
Reb Zev, can I ask you for some money?
You can ask me for whatever you want.
And so Yaakov, is it any different than announcing yourself? Like what they say to knock at a door is very similar to derech eretz. Is it not the same type of derech
Yeah,
eretz?
maybe. Yeah,
Meaning
maybe.
you have to,
knocking
you have
on
to,
the door, you're coming into a private domain. It's a whole different
Similarly,
story.
you have to-
No, but even in your own house, you're supposed to knock.
Even in your own
Yeah.
house, yeah, because you don't
You
know
have to
what's
knock on
going
the door.
on.
Very
behind the
similar.
door.
Rabbana, it's not
Yeah.
our
You're
domain. Is that what
accounting
you're saying,
yourself
Rabbana?
before.
Rabbana, our own houses are not our domain.
That's
I'm
true.
saying
Parah.
you can't just intrude on somebody's thoughts.
Right. I hear. And Shuldik, you have a second? Okay.
Right. No, so that's what, but that's the mental thicker
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I think it's also similar to Anoisa Matana L'Chaveiro Tzarech L'Idiyah. Trying to respect
Well,
someone else, his
That's
opinion,
because
then
Yeah.
wait,
Okay.
then you respect him. You don't. It's going over and starting your own conversation is respecting oneself, not respecting the other person.
I hear.
You're asking someone for an opinion, then respect his opinion.
We're
Respect
all
him.
just saying an opinion. We're just all saying an opinion, but the stam seems to be a schmooze.
Yeah, it's so yeah.
Okay, all right, it's fine. Messiah leila Reb Chanina, Dam Reb Chanina, lo yomer adam davar l'chaver elam kein karo, unless you call him first. Okay, Lamar. Now this is a major Gemara right here. Lamar, we haven't said that in a while. Yeshua Marchuk, no time. Is it? So Lamar, yes. So Amar, okay, there's a whole thing. This is as a zikaron for Shkolim here. Amar of Manasseh, Musia, Barbarader of Masia, Benastia, Mesheder of Mus. Okay, whatever it is. Yeah. Rabba. Bottom line is the end of the day, it's Rabba. How do you know when you tell something to your friend, he's not allowed to say it over to anybody? Until the person tells you, go say it to somebody. It says that Hashem spoke to him, which Rashi says, Lamar is loy amar. Don't say it. Yeah. So therefore, we learn out from this that there's privacy. And this is the thing, the whole Welt thinks that there's HIPAA laws, right? Or a rabbi has a law that you're not allowed to repeat things, and a lawyer has a law, and that. What do you mean? No, it's not. Nobody is allowed to repeat anything that they were told by anybody. Finished. You're not allowed unless the person gives you permission. Even if the guy doesn't ask you for secrecy, right? It's beferish. It's right here. It's a Gemara. There's no way around it, right? Somebody tells you something, you have no right to yenterai.
It's a Chavetz Chaim. It's in Sefer Chavetz Chaim.
Yes. So the question is it mamish?
It's a Gemara.
It's
It's a Gemara.
It's in the Gemara. It's in the
Yeah,
Gemara.
but
I
if you
think
learn
that's
Chafetz Chaim
yeah.
and Shari Chaim, you get a donut. So we're going to quote the Chafetz Chaim instead.
Okay, all right, okay. The donut, okay, you're right.
No, but it comes. No, I think it's a big
The Gemara,
mistake that people make.
yeah.
Somebody. No, I'm saying people think like if somebody told me not to say. I'm saying over something they told me not to say. So what do you mean not? Even if they didn't tell you not to say, you're not allowed to say.
Wait a minute. So
Usually when they say don't say, that means tell everybody.
No, I remember learning. I don't know where it is. I remember learning. It says okay. It says if you say it in front of 3 people, then it's not. Then it's as if it went out already.
That's but to me, in order to meet that qualification, is very, very difficult.
Why?
There's a bunch of It's not the time now, but it's a bunch of qualifications. All these coolers, in front of 3 people.
Oh no! He says it for finish because it's then it's for sure going to get back to the guy.
They also bring down from the Chafetz Chaim that it's only in a case where you say to the person in the privacy of a place, similar to Moshe in the privacy of the Mishkan. But in other cases, it would be permitted to possibly to repeat it.
You just 5 minutes ago, you said whole klal yisroel was listening in.
Not in the Elmaid.
All of a sudden became private. You had 6
Did you not learn
people listening. Now it's private. Okay.
I guess you forgot. I guess you forgot to learn the Maskan of the Gemara. So let me explain how Maskanas work. In the Maskana of the Gemara.
I thought
in the Maskana of the Gemara.
I wasn't listening.
You did not learn the Maskan of the Gemara. The Gemara says first at Har Sinai everyone heard, and then once Moshe built the Mishkan and he was Noel Mayid, only he heard. That's the Maskan.
Okay, but
not the Havah.
What's that? What do they bring from the Chafetz Chaim?
They bring down from the Chafetz Chaim that this idea that you're not supposed to repeat over messages is if it's said in a private place where he's showing you, please don't repeat this. That's why he says it to you in a private place. But if it was not said in a private place, it's possible that it can be repeated over.
It's possible.
He says in other cases, one is permitted in the absence of a specific warning to the contrary to relate the information.
No, but
unless
if you,
it is of the
no,
original nature.
Right.
Unless it's stum as
what
something
he's
that
saying,
you should keep private.
Right, but what he's
If you
saying,
have
when
a
somebody comes over,
conversation with,
right, go ahead, go ahead.
if you have a conversation with someone in a restaurant, that's private or not private? What's
No, when you meet with somebody one-on-one,
you're going with
and you're
someone to
telling
dinner
him
in a
business,
restaurant.
you're
That's not
telling
a
him
private
business,
place.
you're telling him things. I'm saying when you meet with somebody one-on-one and you're telling him business or family zachin and this and that, and it's clear that it's not meant to be shot out all over the place, then it's absolutely usher, I think, to say it over to anybody. Finished.
Now, Reb Yaakov, we don't know if you saw that in the Chafetz Chaim or not, so we really don't know if it's true what you just said.
I'm saying based on the Gemara.
It only said it in the Gemara.
I'm just looking at the Gemara. Yeah. Okay.
No, but that's no, I'm saying this whole HIPAA laws thing applies. That's a bottom line. Everybody says, "Oh, I'm a doctor. I can't tell you anything." What do you mean? You can't say anything because you're not allowed to say anything. Finished, right?
Oh,
having nothing to do with laws. Correct? All right, whatever it is. So it's an important Gemara. Anyways,
Tiago goes the other way around though, because you could say things that may be a tayeles that may not be covered under HIPAA.
Good, I'm not good. And Hanami. That's a big shaila. Like if halachically, which goes first, the HIPAA laws or the halacha, right? Somebody goes to a psychiatrist or a psychologist and says, bottom line is, I need to know, is this person ABC, right? And halacha says you have to say. If it's negeya to hiring them for a job, shidduchim, whatever it is, and halacha says you have to say, and HIPAA law says you don't say. So what does the person do? What does the person do? Right, and obviously we're talking about if it's a tayelis for somebody to say something, then that's a different story. Here we're just talking about stam yenterai. That's a stam yentish. That's what.
Yaakov, I'll post the snapshot of what they bring down from the Chafetz Chaim, just to be more specific. I'm not sure how it applies to all cases though.
Right. Okay. And it's a vague thing, but I mean that part of it is vague. But one thing is for sure: if you know private information, you are absolutely not allowed to say it to anybody or anything. Finished. Right? Okay, now back to the sugya. So we had said a lot ago, yeah, let's go a little.
Did he freeze? Yaakov Tzvi? He didn't freeze, man. That's the longest concentration I've seen in a long time.
Hello?
I think he got a phone call.
Rabbana, we're keeping you out of the loop.
Okay. Abigazin.
Dude, did the Island get the free Reb Shayla food and everything?
I did better. I went to his brother. I got good cholent and kishka.
What do you mean? They were giving out this morning a Danish and a free coffee in Caesar's Express, or a slice of pizza and a Slurpee.
We got the rabbi a different one.
Yeah, Linus got to clean his lens.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's like Moshe Rabbeinu in the cloud. That's what we're getting that look of.
That's right. Oh, very good. Very good. So, okay, sorry. I don't know why my iPad sometimes crashes. Anyway, so getting back, so we had the Machlokes, Rish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan as to what's the story with are the Meluim Ma'akiv, meaning all the things that they did by the Meluim is a Ma'akiv. So Klal, to Tarvayu Svirulu Meluim, Kol HaKosa Behen Ma'akiv. Whatever it says by the Meluim is Ma'akiv. Ditmar Meluim, because we learned by the Meluim, again, the Meluim is the first Karbanos that were brought in the Mishkan, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Chanina. Chad Amar Kol HaKosa Behen Ma'akiv. Anything that was written by the Meluim was Ma'akiv, and if you left any of it out, the whole carbon's no good. Only things that are ma'akiv for future generations is ma'akiv. She'ein ma'akiv l'doros ein ma'akiv. And the Gemara is going to discuss what's the difference, right, between what's for future generations and it's not. Anything that's not ma'akiv l'doros is not ma'akiv. Fine. So then to stayim the Rabbi Yochanan who damer kol hakosben ma'akiv. Let's prove that Rabbi Yochanan is the one that says that anything that's written there is going to be ma'akiv. The Megdamarli Rabbi Shimon Melokish Rabbi Yochanan, because again a blot ago Rabbi Shimon Melokish asked Rabbi Yochanan, Imam Meluim Kol HaKoseh Behen Ma'akev Behen, right? He said to him, if that's the case, by Meluim everything is Ma'akev, and by Yom Kippur it's not Ma'akev. If for whatever reason the kohen gadol was not in solitary for a week, it wouldn't be Ma'akev. Rabbi Yochanan didn't answer, so it must be that Rabbi Yochanan agreed to what Rish Lakish had asked him. So this time, yes, so that's the proof. My benayu. Bottom line is, what's the difference between whether it's ma'akiv for future generations or ma'akiv now? What's the bottom line? What's the difference? So Gemara is going to say 4 different pshatim, and it goes pretty fast. So Rabbi Yosef, smicha ike benayu, leaning on the animal is the difference, right? So by miluim it says you have to do smicha, right? They have to lean on the miluim. Now is that ma'akiv on all karbanos or not? The mandam are kol hakoseh ben ma'akiv, and so according to the one that says whatever's written there is ma'akev, smicha ma'akva. Then smicha is going to be ma'akev, right? By the miluim. Lamanda Omar, but according to Ma'adam, it says davar she'ein ma'akev l'doros ein ma'akev, and that anything that's not ma'akev in future generations was not ma'akev by miluim either. Smicha lo ma'akva. Smicha is not ma'akev, and meaning if they didn't do smicha, then it wouldn't be a problem. So the Gemara says l'doros minol l'delay ma'akva. And how do you know that in future generations, if they don't lean on the animal before they makriv it, that it's not ma'akiv?
Aren't you learning
the Tanya? What? No, we're learning backwards. Whatever wasn't ma'akiv for the Dairis, it wasn't ma'akiv by the Meluim either. The Tanya was samach v'nirtza. It says you lean, and then it'll be from the word ritzei. It'll be accepted. The smicha make you give a kapar. It says v'samach. They're going to lean on it, and then there's going to be ritzui. It's going to be accepted. What does smicha have to do with mechaperes? V'lo ein kapara ela bedam. Blood sprinkling on the mizbeach is the main kapara, not the lean.
Yaakov, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. The Miluyim is the 7 days before they started officially using the Mizbeach and the Mishnah.
No, the Miluim is the first karbonos that were brought. We happen to be learning out from the Miluim that Aaron had to be in solitary for the week. But the Miluim now we're learning out all the karbonos. Whatever went on by the Miluim, was it ma'akiv or not?
The Miluyim is what?
Miluim are the first karbonos that were brought ever in the history in the Mishkan. Not a week after Aaron was in solitary for a week.
After he got trained by Moshe Rabbeinu.
Correct.
When the Nesiim brought the karbanos, that's what.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Exactly. Yes.
Thank you.
So right. Yeah. So good. So those karbanos, what it said, whatever the Torah said to do ma'miluim, is it ma'akiv or not? So we have a Machlokes here whether it's ma'akiv. Reb Yochanan holds that it's ma'akiv, straight ma'akiv. Anything that it said there, if you didn't do it, it's not ma'akiv.
Forever.
No, by miluim. It was ma'akiv by the miluim.
If it's only by miluim, not
yes.
Forever.
Now then the other shita is that only things that would be ma'akiv by other karbanos would have been ma'akiv by miluim, right? Meaning we're learning the future karbanos to miluim, right? Again, we're all looking at this after the fact. So it's the second shita, which is what we're trying to describe now, is that anything that would be ma'akiv on all karbanos in later years would have been ma'akiv by miluim. But if it wouldn't have been ma'akiv by karbanos in later years, it would not be ma'akiv by the miluim either. Right? So we're trying to understand what's not ma'akiv for Dairis. So we're saying smicha is not ma'akiv, leaning on the animal. Right? When somebody brings a private carbon, you have to lean on the animal. So that's not ma'akiv. If the guy forgot to lean, his carbon is kosher. So mamela, according to the second opinion, if you forgot to lean on the animal by miluim, the carbon is also kosher. Right? But according to the first shita, if it said in the pasuk you have to do smicha, if you didn't do it, then the carbon by the miluim was not good. Right? So that's what's saying. So ki adam hu benefesh yichaper. So the blood is what gives the kapara, not the leaning. So matam aloyim b'samach v'nirtza. So now, okay, so what does the pasuk mean? That you do smicha and then the carbon gets accepted. Shem asal smicha sheyari mitzvah. right? That he looked at the smicha, that it was not the main part of the mitzvah, and he didn't do it. And so the pasuk looks at it as if he didn't get a kapara, but lamaisi did get a kapara, right? So meaning what Rashi says is the pshat here is that yes, if he thought that he didn't have to do the leaning because he didn't take it serious, so he didn't lean on it. So yes, but he was yaitza, but he was not yaitza the way he should have been. Lamaisa, he left out a part that Hashem said to leave out. So that's why leaning lamaisa is not ma'akiv. Fine, that's the first teretz. So now yitzchak tenufa, the waving, right? Some karbonis they waved. They have to pick it up. The kohen put his hands under the person's hands and he picked it up, went up, north, south, east, west, whatever it is. So lamandamar kol akasa behen ma'akev behen. So according to Madam, it says that anything written by the miluim is ma'akev. So then ma'akva, so it was ma'akev. If you didn't do the tenufa by the miluim, so then it's no good. And according to Madam, it says that whatever was not ma'akev in future generations is not ma'akev by the miluim, so then it's lai ma'akva. And tenufa, the waving, was not ma'akev. And how do we know in the future generations that tenufa is not ma'akev? The Tanya, the tenufa, when you wave the karbanos and you do it for a kapara. Does the waving of the carbon make the kapara? Sprinkling the blood makes the kapara. The blood, it makes the kapara. Okay, so then what if the blood does the kapara? So then why does the pasuk say that the tenufa makes the kapara? So the Gemara answers, because same teretz. If you're going to make the tenufa as like a leftover of the mitzvah, you don't really consider it chashuv. So the pasuk makes it as if you don't have a kapara, but lemaisa you do have a kapara, meaning you get a kapara, but you didn't do the carbon the way you were supposed to. So that's the second shot. Rapapa Amar, third shot. Prishas Shiva Ikebenau, separating the kohen for 7 days is the difference between them. So anything that the Torah says to do by miluim, it's ma'akev. So if you didn't separate the kohen before the miluim, the whole thing is no good. But according to the Mandomer, that says that if it's not ma'akev in future generations, future karbonis, it's not ma'akev by miluim either. It's not ma'akev. Fine. How do we know in the future generations if they don't separate the kohen that for a week before that it's not ma'akev? B'dekatani maskinin, we said we were maskinin him, but like katani mafrishin, so it doesn't say mafrishin. The reason why it says maskinin is because we try to be masakin that the kohen separates for a week, but if we didn't do it, then it's not a problem. That's the third teretz. Ravina Amar riboy shiva u'mashicha shiva yikebenau. So there were two ways that you got the kohen gadol. How do you say it? That they appointed a kohen gadol. One is that he wore the kohen gadol, the shmeina begadim, for a week. Then they saw he's a kohen gadol, and they sprinkled oil on him for a week. Right? So according to the Mandam, it says whatever's written by the Malum is ma'akev. So ma'akev. So these two things would have been ma'akev for Aaron the kohen before he brought the miluim. The Mandam, and according to the Mandam, it says that if it was not ma'akev in future generations, it wasn't ma'akev miluim. Loi ma'akev, so it's not ma'akev. Okay, how do we know for Dairis that wearing the shmeina begadim and not being anointed with oil doesn't prevent the kohen gadol from being kohen gadol? And the kohen is going to give a kapara who was appointed under his father. What is it coming to teach us? It says for 7 days his son should wear the clothing. So that tells you that only if he wore the shmeina begadim for 8 days, and he would had the oil on him for 8 days. What happens if he wore the shmeina begadim for 7 days, but he only had oil for 1 day, or the other way? If he had the clothing, the shmeina begadim for 1 day, but nimshach shiva, and he was anointed for all 7 minayin. How do you know that it works? Which means from any place. So therefore, we see that it is not ma'akev for future generations. So basically, we have four different pshatim of what the nafkamina between these two opinions of whether it's ma'akeh b'malum or not. The first one says smicha, the second shot says tenufa, the third shot says the separating the kohen for a week, and the fourth shot is that the shemaina begadim together with the oil. Okay, fine. So okay, we're doing what? Tomorrow Amud. Yes, the 6:30 is fine. 6:30, 6. What time is it mentioned? 7:15. All right, 6:35. 6:35 tomorrow, but it's a okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Good enough, everybody. Yeah. Now I lose the phone, so. All right, you too.
Liner.
Yes.
You davening with us?
You having a minyan?
I think so. I got to confirm with Gershon.
Hey, let me know. My
You got
son
it.
for
I
sure.
made a different type of locks.
Did my wife send you anything yet?
So you're supposed to send it directly to Gershon.
I don't know Gershon Zell or anything. I don't know anything like that.
Oh. No, I thought you were taking care of it. Okay, I'll ask Gershon, then I have to pay him then.
Taking care of what?
I thought you were taking care of the Balkara from last week.
My wife. How many people are on this thing right now?